Hi everybody, welcome back to Penumbra Business Finance. Today we're doing the first of a new feature. It's a supplier focus. We've got Joe with us from IDES, one of our key suppliers, and we've also got Sam with us, one of the directors from Penumbra Business Finance. So you all know me from the previous videos. I'm John, Business Development Director. Do you want to introduce yourself a bit, Joe? How long have you been with the business for?
Yeah, so I'm Joe. I've been with IDES for around about 4 years now. I'm an operations manager there, so provide support really to all sort of functions of the business.
So tell us about who else you work with in the solar team then.
Yeah, so heading up the solar division as such is Kate Matthews. Kate's been with us just under 12 months and she's got 13 years experience, so she's sort of our in-house expert. We've got Ian Ed, who's on the sales side of things. Ian goes out, meets new clients, meets some of our existing clients, and sort of pulls together proposals. Ian loves a spreadsheet, so he's great at analysing the he's great at analysing the half-hourly data and pulling together a scheme that pays back in the right time with the 70-30 split. And then there's myself and Garth, who are more really support role in the division. We support all aspects of the business, but we have existing customers that we present the solar to, and we meet with customers to explain the benefits.
Great stuff. And Sam?
Yeah, hi guys, I'm Sam German, one of the directors at Penumbra Business Finance. I work alongside my business partner Brad Garside, and obviously here today to talk solar.
Excellent stuff. So, I suppose really the best thing is for you to just tell us a bit about IDES and the services that you provide.
Yeah, so IDES are a nationwide electrical contractor, specialise in the automotive, repair, retail, hospitality and healthcare industries. We offer a turnkey solution, so from electrical installation, wiring distribution, LED lighting, fire alarm installations, data infrastructure, EV charge points, and most recently solar PV.
Excellent stuff. And you've worked with Penumbra Finance on a project, or is it a few projects now, or is it just one project? Yeah.
Worked together on asset finance for these guys for the vehicles.
Okay.
And also introduced solar, vice versa.
Yeah.
Excellent. So our main aim today is to chat through the direct and indirect benefits of solar PV installations and to explain the process involved in these projects. So how long have you been working with your clients on solar energy implementation?
So we've been working probably between 18 months and 2 years now on solar. Initially we started working in partnership with another company, and we were working with them to sort of provide the solution, but in the last 12 months we've brought it all in-house, so the design, the sales, the installation, that's all under our roof now, so been able to bring the cost down, but also have the internal in-house expertise within the company.
Yeah, so we do, apologies for reading this, but you know we're finding ourselves in an age of technological revolution, you know, much like industrial and farming revolutions that came before it. It's a revolution that we're all struggling really to keep pace with, but the impact that it's having on the world is absolutely huge. At the same time, we're under increased pressure to limit energy consumption and turn to renewables as a main source of energy. So how has solar developed over the last 20 years to become a viable alternative to grid source power?
Yeah, well, I mean, 20 years is a bit before my time, but certainly from what, well, as with all equipment and technology, things develop all the time, it gets better all the time. Manufacturers are always working to innovate and improve the technology. So when it comes to solar panels and inverters, the sort of capacity increases on them, so they can generate more electricity per panel. Also, as there's more demand for it, the costs are coming down. So we're able to provide more affordable solutions to customers, which is more attractive to them. Also, I think now more than ever, people are a lot more conscious about their environmental impact, particularly businesses.
Of course.
So solar is becoming a much more viable option than it ever used to be.
Yeah.
Obviously, the reduction in energy bills, whilst the energy bills are increasing all the time, it's another tick in the box. And the corporate social responsibility side of it, you're reducing your carbon and reducing your emissions.
So so the UK isn't famed for its great weather. I think we average 62.5 days of sunshine per year on average in the UK. How does this impact overall energy capture for the systems?
Yeah, so solar actually does generate 365 days of the year, but it generates a third less in winter and a third more in summer. Okay. So we work it out as an average of 3 hours per day, which I think is around 46.7 days of the year of sunlight. Okay. So when we look at our design, we'll always base that off 3 hours a day. Mm-hmm. So you look at the solar generation across the year as opposed to a month or a day, because then that evens out the average.
That's actually quite a surprising number, really. I would have thought it would have been significantly worse in winter than it is in summer. A third doesn't sound unreasonable. I was expecting maybe half as bad in winter than it is in summer. So daylight hours, cloud cover, there's still UV going into the system. It's still generating power. Yeah. And you average that out to 3 days.
3 hours. Sorry,
3 hours per day. And that's so even over a longer day, it's generating 3 hours worth of good electricity on a winter's day.
Yeah, so
that's average across the entire year.
So in winter you might generate half an hour to an hour's worth of sunlight, whereas in summer months you're probably more like 4 to 5 hours of sunlight a day.
Okay, and is there a rule around minimum space required for an installation to be viable? That's roof space, isn't it? Yeah. Minimum sort of roof space.
Not a rule as such. Whenever we're doing a commercial job, we always allow for at least a metre around the edge of the roof, because that complies with the MCS guidelines, and it allows a fireman's route around the solar array. Okay. Whenever we do pull together a proposal, we always base it off the customer's energy usage. So just because they've got a huge roof, but they might only have a low consumption, we wouldn't just flood the roof, because the price just goes up and the time it takes to pay back goes up significantly. We'll always size the system depending on how much they use.
Got you. Perfect. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so you can get large buildings that aren't powering a lot of machinery, or have got small offices, and they don't require a big installation to get to reap the benefits from the system.
Yeah, for example, a warehouse where they've just got racking in, they're not going to use a lot of power, so they'll only need a certain amount of panels to cover what they use. So for a design to be viable and not oversized, we tend to look for a self-consumption figure of 70%. So that means that 70% of the energy generated is being utilised by them and not sold back to the grid.
Okay. So what impact does this have on energy bills, or what savings can be expected? And I appreciate this depends on the size of install, but on if you work on an average from the installations that you've done, can you put a figure on it?
So I actually did a bit of an exercise. On an average 50 kilowatt system, you can expect to save probably between £2,000 and £3,000 per month. Obviously, it completely depends on the customer's electricity rate.
So on a 50 kilowatt system that you said, that's your average size installation, is it?
Well, that's just an average figure for that size installation. So it obviously just depends on some. Installation will be 30 kilowatts, some will be 100, and some will be 500. Yeah. So it really varies on the billing data as well. Okay. What electricity rate they're on.
So businesses investing in solar energy will benefit from a better ESG score. This is your environmental, social and governance score. Now, I think we've touched on this earlier. This is there's increased pressure from government bodies to actually to actually understand your ESG score. And it's a key factor used by investors as well to identify issues that aren't accounted for on a balance sheet when they're looking to invest in a business. As a net zero carbon energy source, what other incentives do you know are available to adopters, including grants and tax benefits?
Yeah, so obviously alongside the energy savings that you're getting, there is sort of incentives there from the government. They're not always there, you know, they come in waves, and sometimes
Is it regional as well?
Yeah, sometimes the national, sometimes the local governments that provide the incentives.
Sam, what do you know about the annual investment from an accounting perspective?
Yeah,
on
so
this kind of investment?
As far as I'm aware, John, and I'm sure Joe will back me up, solar is eligible on the annual investment allowance, which is at an increased amount still at £1 million. Ultimately, that offsets against any corporation tax owing.
So I suppose my last question for you, Joe, would be, businesses that are generating higher amounts of energy that they use. I think you said about 70% use them internally and then 30% external. Is that then sold back to the grid? Or can that then be sold back to the grid?
Yeah, so there's currently a smart export guarantee sort of scheme in place. So customers can sell their excess energy back to the grid. However, we try to avoid it as much as possible because the average sort of seg price can be around 5 pence per kilowatt. So compare that to your supply price, there's a huge difference there. So you're best using as much energy as you can and then exporting as a last resort.
Okay.
The seg scheme could be ended at any point as well, so we never really, when we're designing a scheme, we'd never use that as our guarantee for your payback period. Another thing is that...
Is there more investment required on equipment in order to then sell back to the grid?
No, so the equipment itself will be the same.
Yes.
But you just need more panels. You know, if you're focusing on exporting to the grid, you need more panels. So the cost there would go up and the payback period would decrease. And
the 70% that you mentioned, 70 versus 30%, is there a way of storing that 30%?
Yeah, so you can store energy in batteries. Generally, on a commercial installation, we wouldn't recommend it because of the operating hours. If it's a 24-hour operation, store it in the day, use it at night where you're using your machinery and things like that.
Sam, on to you. Tell us about your recent 2023 completed solar project that you did with IDES and what was the depth of your involvement personally?
Yeah, so it's one of my long-standing customers, a big transport business in Liverpool. Their accountant actually got in touch with me and said that the business is obviously under increased pressure because of the size to become more so corporate social responsible. I was actually going to see the customer that week, so I had a chat with him. He obviously wanted to look at investing into solar, but didn't have a clue where to start. Obviously with my relationship with Garth and Joe and the team at IDES, I put them in touch. Now they've got the full turnkey solution. It allowed them to go in, discovery meeting, would you call it, Joe, originally?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
We sort of presented a couple of schemes that we pulled together from a desktop survey and sort of just run through the options with Adam over there.
Yeah, and what happened there was obviously Adam had got quotes from other places, but the kilowattage was quite higher than what these guys had booked to Adam, which was considerably more expensive. These guys gone in, designed a system which was absolutely right for their operation, and ultimately it's been in now, was it 3-4 months maybe? Yeah, and feedback is very happy with it and passing on your name to other businesses, which is what it's all about.
Yeah.
John?
Am I right in saying that you're looking life expectancy of a panel is around about 25 years?
Yeah.
Right, okay, so on that basis then, Sam, what's the longest period that you can...
The life expectancy is probably longer, but you sort of get a warranty on the panels for 25 years.
Okay, so minimum life expectancy 25,
Yeah.
It could stretch further than that. Brilliant.
Yeah.
What does that, from a funding element, Sam, how long are we talking in terms of a full contract for the funding?
Yeah, so the average funding for the solar is between 5 to 7 years. Some businesses may opt to do 2-3. It completely depends on the payback which these guys produce to say how quickly will it have paid itself off through the savings from the energy. Average is 5 to 7. There's certain lenders who may look to do 10, but there's no more than 10 at the current moment.
And what's you touched on the sort of expected payback period in terms of the free energy essentially. What is there an average number on that? Does that match with
I'll pass this to Joe.
So whenever we design a system, we always try to keep it below 6 years payback.
Fantastic.
And a lot of the time majority of the time we get way below that, so we normally look between 3 and 4 years. Again, depending on the electric prices.
On one of these projects, Sam, what kind of deposit are the funders that you've used in the past are they expecting on a project of this scale?
Yeah, I mean, look, the deposit sweet spot is usually 10% and all the VAT. It's a difficult one really, John, because it goes off a lot of the strength of the business. I have done certain systems on a VAT only deposit. I've done certain systems with a 10% and a VAT deferral. So it completely comes down to the characteristics of that business and ultimately what they're trying to achieve.
And what information is required for approval?
Nothing really out of the ordinary as to a standard asset, so bank statements, accounts, usually we'd need the director's information. The two add-ons really on this is the pack which IDES would produce, which is the payback, the system size, what's going on the roof, and also the information if the building's owned outright or whether it's rented or leased.
Course,
the reason why that is because they've got permission to put whatever they want on their own.
That's right.
Usually what we found is a landlord's waiver is required if they're leased almost every time, and usually the landlords are fairly happy with it happening. We've never had really a kickback on it.
What guarantees are required for such a project?
It's a golden question really. I mean, it really comes down to the strength of the business. Recently, most notably, we did £1 million solar facility, which didn't require any guarantees. That being said, we're currently working on monetary value of 170,000 with you guys, and that has required guarantees. So again, strength of the business, kind of the certainty that they'll be paying back.
And how long does the approval process take?
The approval process is fairly straightforward. From us receiving the full pack of information, i.e. bank statements, the solar project, we could be looking at a turnaround within 3 to 4 days. There might be a few questions that may be asked, which is how many panels are going on the roof, has a survey been done, etc. If they are asked, then maybe add on 24 hours, but quite seamlessly processed nowadays from what it used to be anyway.
And what makes Penumbra the obvious choice as the preferred funder for this type of project, Sam? Come on, sell us. Come on, look, sell Penumbra to us.
Ultimately, as I always say, John, money's a commodity. It's available anywhere. I guess with this kind of kit, the solar equipment, the link up we have with IDES, in which gives us great benefit that we're starting to understand the process a lot more of what a kilowatt is, whereas before I didn't have a clue. The fact that we've completed systems from 50 kilowatt all the way up to 850 kilowatt, we know what we can place in certain sizes, and we've done the job. Like I said, money's a commodity, John. It's ultimately got to rely on our speed and service and flexibility to get the right solution for the customer.
So I'd like you, between both of you please, to talk us through the complete process from the initial meeting with the customer to the final sign-off. So
from our point of view, the first point of call is to get the address and the electricity rates and the half-hourly data from a customer. Okay. Once we've got that data, we can analyse it, understand the system size that's required to sort of get that perfect 70-30 split or above. Once we've got that together, we'll put it together as a package, a design, which can then go to Sam and the team for the finance figures.
So from receiving the information from Joe, I packaged the deal together, pick a suitable lender who I believe would like to cater this deal. So from that period would really be probably a few hours worth of work my end to package the deal up, get it into the appropriate lender, and then probably looking at 24-48 hours for initial feedback. Sometimes quicker, sometimes slightly longer. Okay.
So then, confirmation of funding. How does the process
payment
work?
To that? Do you mean?
Yeah. Once we've got acceptance on the sort of order, the confirmation, we'll get the ball rolling with a DNO, so distribution network operator application. So that sort of ensures that the local infrastructure has capacity to take the solar load, the load from the solar, or the potential load from solar. And we'll also do a structural roof survey to make sure that the roof's strong enough to hold the panels. Once that we get all that back, 9 times out of 10 it's going to come back fine. Only after we've sort of done that process can we look at installation dates.
Okay.
And get the ball rolling.
How long does it normally take for, you know, do you keep the panels in stock, or, you know, how does that work from an inception, design, order confirmation to actually installation? What kind of gap are you looking at?
Yeah, so on order confirmation we'll look to get a deposit as well. Obviously depending what we
just under the deposit, I mean, a lot of the times our customers want to pay the VAT up front, so this deposit can act as a VAT element.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we normally get deliveries direct to site, so we'll schedule a day. All the deliveries will arrive on the first day, it takes a lot less time than you'd expect with the solar. So normally we get scaffolding up maybe 2-3 days, and then the actual installation itself will be around less than a week. No, in most cases less than a week.
Okay. Fantastic. So from the point of customer inquiry to the completion, on average?
It could vary very much depending on the DNO application, because some DNOs offer a lead time of 12 weeks, some will get it back within 3 weeks.
Okay.
So it completely depends on the size of the system, the sort of workload of the DNO at the time.
So from the point the DNO is complete and it's all okay, from there roughly what do you normally work at?
So from the point where the DNO's all been signed off, the structural roof surveys come back fine. We normally say 2-3 weeks lead time, depending on our workload.
So it's super quick once that's in place, and that's obviously based on your workload as well, isn't it? So, of course. And once the system's installed, what kind of maintenance is required?
So panels are actually very low maintenance. Of course, with all electrical systems in the business, you need to ensure that they're working correctly. So a periodic electrical test would be sufficient from the inverter side. In some cases, it may be worth recommending to clean the panels maybe once a year. It all sort of depends on the environment that they're in.
Yeah.
So for example, we've just done a quote for a company that's in the waste removal business, and they're worried about sort of debris and
huge amounts of dust
exactly.
So that's going to impact the efficiency of the system, isn't it? Quite significantly, I would say. So they want more regular cleaning.
I mean, in a sense, panels are sort of self-cleaning because of the rain, but there may be times where you need to clean them a bit more.
And what guarantees and warranties are included? I think we've already touched on this, but if you want to just confirm that, that'd be great.
So we use premium panels. So the panels are ranked based on the bankability, so the sort of lifespan of them. So our majority of our panels will come with a 25-year warranty, and the inverters are normally between 10 and 15 years warranty, but we can always look to extend them as well at the point of order.
So there's I think we've got a little bit of something for you, Joe.
Just to say thank you for the referrals. Thanks to Gar, thanks to Kate, thanks to all of you. Hopefully here's to many more deals.
Definitely. Thank you.
Cheers.
So that's us wrapping up our first ever supplier focus. Hopefully there's plenty more of these to come. I hope you've enjoyed that content, and we'll catch you next time.